Okay, I think we've got a few people in now. So good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Andy Fellingham here at Fresh Egg as the commercial director. I want to start with a sentence we hear a lot here, and in one form or another, and it's we've stopped asking what we'd like to do, and we've started asking what the website will allow us to do. If that sounds familiar, you're in the right place because the question we're exploring today is why some organizations keep improving their digital performance year after year, while others gradually find the website becomes the thing holding them back. And this really isn't a technology question, or not only. It's the combination of technology, data, customer insight, optimization, and also organizational capability. So, a few quick intros before we get going. So, Fresh Egg is a website building optimization agency, 25 years of helping organizations design, build, and continuously improve their digital experiences. A lot of our thinking today comes from what we call intelligent experiences, or IX, bringing data, technology, user insight, and optimization together so digital experiences don't simply launch and then age, they learn and improve. I'm very pleased that I'm joined by Adam Stafford, our chief exec and founder at Fresh Egg, to my side, and Aaron Green, partner manager for UK and Ireland at Umbraco. We've very much designed this webinar as a conversation rather than a presentation. We really ask you if you could put some questions into the panel as they occur to you. We've hopefully left a good amount of time at the end, and we'd rather have too many or too few questions to go through. So, Adam, let's start with the problem. So, no one sets out to build a website that becomes difficult to change, do they? So, why does digital performance eventually plateau?
Right. So I think everyone on this webinar today would be able to kind of feel this. Launch day of the new website, it is always the high point. You finally got that big investment for the new site. You've got the executive attention that you've been wanting for
Yeah.
years. The roadmap is up to date. Everyone's motivated. There's momentum. But then quite quickly after that, the complexity starts to creep in. So, you got a new website, new campaigns thrown at that website, new content. There's probably going to be some new integrations with other platforms, other teams then starting to develop the website as well. You're starting to build up some technical debt, throw in possibly another agency at
Yeah.
some point. So look, these things, it singularly, they're fine,
Yeah.
but the combined impact of everything that we just spoken about, they start to cause an issue. And I think, look, if you think about it at the moment, on top of all of that, think about the current state that we're in. So tech is moving so quick. Even thinking about the search landscape, user behavior, AI is accelerating at a pace that we've never seen before. And this just creates a tipping point. So if you think about it, you end up in a position where the organization has to start working around the website instead of the website supporting what it is that the organization wants to do. And I think that the first thing that happens typically is when there is a plateau in performance, the first thing that people start looking at is it a traffic problem?
Yeah.
So can we throw more traffic at the problem to fix it? More SEO. The good old days of being able to kind of turn on the tap of paid
Yeah.
search. But we are definitely reaching an era now where speaking to our clients and people within the sector, advertising is reaching a ceiling of affordability. Google AdWords is not getting cheaper.
Yeah.
Every year, 10% at least year on year additional costs. So what you need to fix is the underlying issue. You need to fix the conversion of your site. Without that, you're in trouble.
100%. And Aaron, from a platform side, what tells you your website has gone from being an enabler to being a constraint for the organization?
Yeah, I mean, in the tech world, lots of people use the term like a big ball of mud, which describes like a platform that is so, you know, just messy and hard to wade through that essentially just can't be changed or looked at. And I think these are the sorts of key things that you need to look at, right? As Adam said, this tech landscape right now is growing at a speed that is almost impossible to keep up with, generally speaking. So you need to be able to iterate quickly. And so if you can't, like if you find that your small changes are becoming development projects, right? Or, new integrations to the system, which you need to be making regularly, are disproportionately expensive, or even if you can't even keep up with your upgrade cycle because literally you just don't want to get near to it. It's just going to be so expensive for you. Like that's when, you know, the problem is that you've got a lot of debt built up, and that's because of the accumulation of small decisions up to that point, generally speaking, or the that have led to the platform itself just being unworkable. It can't evolve, it can't change, it can't get any better, and now you're in a really poor position where your website is no longer serving you, it's actually making your daily life kind of suck, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've all been there, haven't we, over time? So second question to both of you really is, so is the real problem the technology or the way organizations run their websites?
Okay, I'm happy to take that one. Um, I think it's both, and both of them certainly have a compound effect.
Yeah.
So, good tech can't compensate for unclear ownership. And I think this is sometimes the easy bit that doesn't cost money that organizations can get right. So you don't want to end up in a situation where you've got siloed teams, a weak measurement plan for your website. More often than not, still, there is a culture where people aren't doing experimentation or
Yeah.
CRO on the website. And then I guess, Andy, on the flip side of that, equally, good people can't outperform a platform. You end up in a stage where every single change you make on that website ends up being really expensive. So the kind of bad day to day is where you end up with siloed SEO over here and siloed CRM. You might have the development team responding to tickets that don't have any context
Yeah.
behind it. Everyone's in that position where there's separate objectives, separate reports, and you end up with reports that explain what's happened and not what is happening next. The thing I would take away from today is that a website, it's not a product. A website is a product.
Yes.
It's not a project.
No, exactly.
And I think
Yeah.
that's key.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Aaron, what's your view on this?
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree, right? I'm gonna go pretty heavily on using cars as a baseline for an analogy here, right? And the truth is that your Ford Focus is just not gonna beat a Formula One in a race, right? Like it just isn't. So of course, platform matters when it comes to these things. Some tech is just going to be better, and those choices matter. But equally, if you both have a Ford Focus, you're not going to be a Formula One driver in a race either, right? And so, like the attitude of the company, the way it runs that platform, makes a huge decision. And I think that I'm going to keep on going on the car analogy here. It's going to get deeper. The thing is, that most people just treat their website, right, as like a one-time purchase. They get a big, influx of capital investment, they double down on it, and they're like, oh, cool, we've got this great website. Everyone's really excited about it. The website launches. And then they're actually like, cool, see everyone again in 5 years. That's that done now, and we don't have to do anything else in it. And I get it. Like, that is a very tempting thing. But, like, when you buy a car, right? You don't expect that to be a one-time purchase and then you never spend any money in the car. I wish it was like that, but like that's just not how it works. You have maintenance costs, right? You have all of these costs that you expect to happen regularly throughout, that you put budget aside for, you save a bit of money for. And I think people don't do that with their website. They don't save the money for the budget throughout. And it's not just the maintenance, it's the adding new things budget, right? It's the improving your radio, improving the wheel trims, whatever it is, just slowly but surely making your website keep up with the modern world, essentially.
100%. So the useful question, I suppose, isn't whether an organization has a good or bad website, it's how capable that organization is of continually improving it. And so that's where the maturity model comes in. But before the model, let's talk about the foundation. I'm going to put something on the screen for everyone to see. And what I really, so hopefully everyone can see our IX maturity curve on the screen now. And as we talk through this, I'd be really interested to get everyone's opinion um, on where they feel they sit within the current IX maturity curve that we have. So we're just launching hopefully a poll. Please feel free just to add your thoughts to that poll as we talk our way through it. Um, so
It's the foundations.
yeah, exactly.
First of all, I think before we look at this maturity curve, for me, there are three foundations that any organization needs to get right.
Yeah,
So the first one is data, 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 data. Everyone needs reliable analytics and a clear measurement plan. Think about data quality before data sophistication. You need to know the basics. What is it that your users do? Why do they do it? And what actually creates value? And then the second area of the foundations is human insights. This is an easy area that you can do within your organization or use a company like Fresh Egg, but analytics on its own isn't intelligence. You need to understand your user. You need to be able to do research, testing. A lovely exercise I love doing with our clients is journey mapping because we need to understand the why behind the numbers.
yeah.
And then I guess the third area that everyone can get right is how you kind of manage your people and your process. So, let's try and achieve clear ownership of the projects. Let's look at a prioritized roadmap. Let's see that, the ability to deploy is seamless. And start thinking about this is something simple that everyone can do. Have agreed outcomes that you can put KPIs to. And just remember that you can't personalize intelligently if you don't understand the customer, and you can't optimize confidently if you don't trust your data.
100%. And then, Aaron, from a technology foundations perspective, what do you feel it has to be in place before you can start looking at the maturity curve?
Yeah, I mean, like your CMS needs to be in a good place. It needs to be stable, secure, fast, accessible, and actually easy for your editors to use, right? Otherwise, it doesn't even serve its baseline purpose, right? Like that's the very foundation. But then on top of that, you need to have the right architecture for whatever type of system you're building. And like that doesn't mean just building lots of redundant architecture, but uh, essentially like the right customizations and the right architecture for the specific purpose of your business, right? So if you need CRMs, if you need PIMs, etc., that you need to be plugging into things, those need to be easy to plug in and upgrade whenever they're needed, right? Personalization needs to be easy to fit in, and the right type of personalization needs to be fit in. You know, this is real integration capability, right? And it needs to have a real upgrade path as well. Remember, every single technology that you introduce will have to have an upgrade at some point because it will go end of life. And so you're going to need to be planning for that as well, right? And so the infrastructure in advance needs to be planned and signed off up front and genuinely thought about like what's going to happen in the future. Now you can't like none of us are going to see the future, but you got to at least have a think about it. Like not just what I need now, but what might I need later. Because the thing about technology is it creates the capacity to evolve, but it just doesn't create the evolution itself. So you need to manage that part in-house with the right technology in
Yeah,
place from day dot.
precisely. So technology, data, human insight, and the expertise to act on them. They're the four things that we look to help and assess with our clients actually. And once they're in place, organizations can really start to progress. And what I like about the maturity model isn't that it's 5 generations of new technology. It's 5 levels of organizational capability.
Yeah.
So, Adam, a question for you. At level one on the maturity curve is where everything starts to work, but nothing is really joined up. So, what actually changes when you move from level one up to level two and things start to join up?
Okay. So look, let me start by defending our level one. It's functional. So it's not a bad website.
Yeah,
It's just that everything functions separately. So I would say a lot of people we speak to are still at level one, and have ambitions of moving up to level two. At level two, things start connecting. So, you might have campaigns, paid search campaigns connecting with the on-site experience, optimizing some landing pages. You might hope that the SEO and the CRO teams are starting to share some insights. CRM behavior starts influencing what people see on the website. Another thing that we're seeing at this level two is, we're doing more audience segmentation, and that segmentation starts to become more useful for maybe your paid search campaigns. So you're getting better channel data. You start to know your customers. So you're understanding their real behavior rather than just looking at new and returning visitors. And I guess within the team, you might start having like a shared roadmap. Teams start sharing, like the so yeah, more integration internally as well.
100%. And then I suppose from your side, Aaron, a lot of people hear that word optimization and assume it needs some kind of sophisticated technology or tooling. Is that actually the case or not?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so, right? Like, it depends on what level of CRO capability you have in-house, right? Like, some people have CRO experts, and yeah, they're going to want some sophisticated tooling because they really understand it. But anyone can do a bit of optimization. So like I'll talk about like a basic A/B test, right? I used to do a lot of social media, and I did TikTok. I got like a 30,000 person following on that TikTok account. And one of the things that I did a lot, right, is just like a little thing called like an A/B test, which is I try posting a load of videos with one thing different with one thing I'm changing in this set of videos and one thing in this set of videos. So like for example, wear a hat in these 10 videos, don't wear a hat in these 10 videos, right? Try and make them as similar as possible and see if one performs better, right? So that you can see does this matter or not. That's a test. That's an experiment, right?
Yeah,
You just
exactly.
done it. And so it's like optimization is like I have a rough idea about something that might be better on the website, and it's just like how quickly can I test all of that, or with one group of people and test it with the other pe group of people. That's like at a base level. And so if you can do that, come up with a theory, go and test it, and you've got technology that can test it, right? And then make some changes based on the results. You're optimizing. So simple as that. It's not hard,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Anyone can do that.
exactly. I didn't realize we had a TikTok influencer on the call today, Aaron. I'll have to bow to you next time. So as we're moving up the curve, so level three, Adam, is where most people would generally call personalization. Is that what you see this as?
Um, I think, yeah, at levels three, we can start to see kind of genuine personalization. But when you think of personalization, it must solve a customer or a business problem. You can't be doing personalization just for the sake of it.
Yes.
Um, so look, it's at this stage where we start having a single customer view, and that starts to become meaningful. So, the audience information starts to become shared across your CRM, your website, advertising, experimentation, and that context that you start building up that starts to shape the experience that you can then deliver on the website. So, there's certain things that are easy that you could relate to, like context around location, seasonality. You start understanding the previous behavior of the user who's returning to the website. You know what the customer status is, and you can start personalizing to that. So and I guess at this stage as well, at this point, you can start looking at different audiences and understanding that the different audiences on your websites can start having different KPIs as well. So yeah, at this level, the website starts to become interconnected, and this is your interconnected growth engine,
Yeah.
not just a channel that performs on its own.
Precisely. And then as we move up to the right-hand side of the curve, and I can see from the poll, we've got one person that's well, a person that says they're at the adaptive stage here on the call today. So for you, Adam, levels 4 and 5, what are the changes when AI becomes part of that decision making, rather than just that content production tool?
Okay, well, look, at level 4 and 5, this is where things start getting really exciting. And
Yeah.
right at the beginning, you were talking about, it's almost limitless now. It's not what can we do? Everything seems to be possible. AI is making that possible. So this shift, we start looking at predetermined rules that can do like adaptive decisioning, some really exciting stuff. So systems that start to use behavior, looking at customer profile, looking at context and intent and past behavior to decide, what should we show on that user journey? What should we show on the website? And then, systems nowadays can start learning from outcomes and start adapting and optimizing in real time.
Yeah.
So, we're doing some really exciting things at Fresh Egg that wouldn't have been possible even like 2 years ago. So yeah, one thing that we're developing currently that we've called Ape, which is an adaptive personalization engine. Our latest innovation, we are building websites that adapt and evolve in real time because there is the tech available now to do that. And I think, the importance of data, the importance of the additional context that we can start giving our website, we can start doing these really like amazing things online that just weren't possible 2, 3 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And one thing that I love that AI is pushing is the importance of data. So the more data that we have, the more first party data, the more mature our clients are getting with their CRM data, and the data that they're able to collect and integrate into a single customer view, that enables us to do like things, anything you can imagine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been in the agency now for 6 months, and this is the thing that's probably most excited me is this adaptive personalization engine that Fresh Egg are building. I think there's more to come on this, isn't it? We're very early stages,
Early days.
early days on this, but it'd be great at some point down the line to talk about this on a webinar, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
100%. Just a bit of a recap, I suppose, on the IX maturity curve. So the 5 stages: functional, connected, integrated, adaptive, and intelligent. 2 things I think is worth saying about that. The first one is the top level 5 isn't a destination every organization needs to reach, actually. Maturity should be appropriate to your customer base. It should be appropriate to your commercial model that you're operating under. So I can see on the poll today, no one is indicating they're at level 5, and you don't need to be. You don't feel bad if you're not at level 5 and you have no ambitions to be at level 5.
Your level 5s at the moment are your Netflix, your Amazon.
Precisely. Yeah.
I don't think we got Netflix on the webinar today, but
Well,
it's definitely something to think about that is achievable in the future.
yeah. I think the other core takeout for me is that you can't skip the foundations, can you?
No.
For instance, if you just go out and buy an AI platform, it doesn't make you intelligent overnight, does it?
No.
So thank you for everyone who's completed the poll. We're going to end that poll now, if that's okay. I'm going to take our maturity curve off the screen, and we just want to maybe change the conversation around a little bit now. All right. So I hope you guys are both ready for this. So I want to challenge the premise of everything we've just said, actually, which is quite interesting. And we wouldn't normally have this kind of open debate and conversation because we'll be a little bit scared of it in the past to have this conversation. But we've spent half an hour talking about investing into websites and the importance of websites. But around 1 in 6 searches now returns an AI overview result. And when that happens, the top organic result loses roughly a third of its clicks. We're seeing this 0-click behavior happening at the moment, and agents are starting to complete tasks on our behalf. right? So the world is rapidly moving in this digital space. So my questions to both of you, which may put you on the back foot a little bit, um, will we actually need websites in 5 years' time?
I hope so. Otherwise, we're going to both be out of a job.
Yeah, I mean,
But
look,
without that bias, like if I'm happy to go first, Aaron. Um, I genuinely think that websites are around for at least another 10 years plus. Because of four reasons, I guess. And for me, the first and most important reason is you need a source of truth. And that's what the role that your website plays. Organizations need an owned environment where they've got all of their product facts, their policies, pricing, expertise. They need to be able to demonstrate their expertise and evidence that. Um, and ultimately, look, AI systems need those sources, and you want to be in control of that
Yeah,
source.
100%.
So, yeah, number one source of truth. I think the second thing for me is brand and trust. A third party AI interface can't produce your brand experience. They just can't.
Yeah.
And if you think about some products that you might be selling, I don't know, like high consideration decisions, if it was even like insurance, you still need to be able to go somewhere um, for proof and depth and credentials. You need that for your kind of brand and trust.
Yeah.
Um, the third area, which a lot of people are seeing more and more, is just being discoverable in AI search. Um, so discoverability, zero click that we're talking about doesn't mean zero content. AI answers, they depend on content that exists somewhere, and that is your website.
Yeah.
So, look, SEO is evolving into a broader AI visibility. You need that content to sit somewhere. You need to be discovered.
Yes.
And then I guess the last bit, which I'm sure you'll probably agree is as important as anything else that we've discussed, is the relationship that you have with your data. So an an owned experience, your website gives you a direct relationship with first party data.
Yes.
You don't want to be relying on an external platform um, who'll be owning that data on your
Yeah.
behalf. You want to be independent, and if you're going to keep that competitive edge, you need to be in a position where you can go out and get that first party data and own it.
100%. I mean, from my client side experience, that is probably the most important one for me, actually. That kind of owning the customer relationship, owning that first party customer data on your people that you're engaging with is gold dust
Yeah.
for an organization. And without that, you don't really have a real commercial viewpoint of being able to commercialize your customer base
No.
without that. So for me, probably all of them are important, but probably that fourth one you just mentioned, Adam, is probably the most important. Aaron, from your side, obviously, um, will we have websites in 5 years' time?
yeah, I mean, look, I work at a CMS company, right? It's obviously within my best interest to say, yeah, we're gonna have websites. That's important, right? But like, let's be real, right? Because a lot of the stuff that Adam talked about is it leads to some really simple conclusions that essentially anyone can work back from that show, yeah, we're probably gonna have websites in 5 years. And the thing is, it's like the first one you t touched on, source of truth, right? Like the way people interact with websites will probably change. Like there will be, more search interfaces. There will be more AI search even within your own website, right? To help people navigate around and assistants and agents. And yeah, I think few people are going to be visiting a homepage potentially. But when you do a GPT search, it pulls through all the sources, right? And I'm maybe I'm a weirdo here, but sometimes I click on that link and I go and read that source after. It's like found me a load of sources, and then I go and imagine I go to that and there's just no, and it's just like a blank markdown text file, right? That like AI has been ready to search. I'm gonna be like, whoa, these guys are jokers. Absolutely not. Stay away from me, right? Like there's no way, right? So it's like it's not that no one's ever going to visit your website. It's just that the initial entrance point is going to be different because it's going to be through an AI agent rather than through a search agent, right? Moreover, like imagine someone searches like find me a load of good shoes to buy, right? And so it comes up with a load of good shoes, and then they go and buy a pair of Nike shoes. The next time they like Nike at this point, so it's that brand and awareness point. So they're not going to go through the AI agent at this point. They're going to go direct to the Nike website to see what's going on there, right? And so it's like the same stuff is going to happen. It's just that instead of like search engines being the entrance point as they historically have been, right? AI agents are going to be the search, the entrance point to a website. The same stuff needs to exist, but you need to definitely be building your content differently. I think with, you know, uh, better structured content, more APIs, making it open and searchable and scannable. Nowadays AI pulls through images, so making sure your images are easy to pull down and put into the right place, etc. Making things easy to upgrade. All of these things, it's definitely your platform needs to be able to evolve and be future proofed, but at the same time, like if we're worried about like websites not existing, it's kind of like saying, I'm worried that we don't need to have any records for anything anymore, and all of the information is just going to be stored in some central location, which is obviously not the case, right?
Yeah.
Things need to pull from something, so you need to make the data, right?
And how many years have we had things like SEO is dead? I remember that first being spoken about like 15 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And with AI search now, all of the fundamentals that we've been doing for the past 10 years are integral to ensuring that we're getting the visibility with AI search.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
I mean,
market's moving forward, website staying.
yeah, I think it's a really good question to ask though, because people will be worried about that. And if they're having to talk to the leadership team about investing into new technology, new CMSs, new optimization programs for their website, like hopefully that helps them answer that question around if that challenge came their way. I
Yeah.
mean, we are seeing a huge amount of digital pace and change with AI at the moment, but as you say, we go through these kind of peaks and troughs of change, and we come out the other side and we still need a website.
Yeah.
So it's a great question to ask. We're coming to actually we've been really quick today, like 33 minutes in. Obviously, it gives us a lot of time to hopefully have some questions and answers session here. But quick fire question for both of you, really, if that's okay. If someone takes one action back to the organization today, what should it be, Adam?
Okay, one thing. I think, look, you can't personalize intelligently if you don't understand the customer, and you can't optimize confidently if you can't trust the data.
Yeah.
Understand the customer, trust your data.
Yeah, it comes back to that foundational point around data, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like you got to have that at the core of your organization. And Aaron, for you?
That was a very well put. I love that. I think for me, it's you can't fix what you're avoiding, right? Like it's easy to just kind of avoid the situation that's going on and pretend everything's okay, but in the back of your head, you know that this task needs to get done. Just keep it simple, go back, write five things about like, the things that you like about your platform and the things that you need to change and that you need to actually fix. What are the things that are stopping you from moving forwards? Is it comfortable to make an upgrade right now? Can I integrate something new very easily? Right? Like how dependent are we on a specific individual, etc. You know, get real about where your platform is currently and
Yeah.
what you want it slash need it to be in your business. And just don't avoid the work on that because the longer you avoid it, the worse the mess is going to get.
Exactly. You got to lean into these things, don't you, Aaron?
So we've got some questions.
Yeah, I think for me, maybe I'll just summarize, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I've got a few questions I can see have come in as well. So I think a few takeaways for me, maybe just to reflect on. One, I suppose, is I've heard today from both of you, and I agree with this statement. Treat your website as a product, not a project. Um,
You got that round the right way then.
I thought I'd just reiterate that just in case people took it the wrong way round.
Thank you.
So launch is not the end of your investment. You should be looking at a 5-year investment cycle for your website, your launch, and then your continuous optimization program. Two, technology and data are the foundations. We've really leaned into that today. But the real advantage is that speed of learning, in my view. The organizations that turn that insight into measurable improvements fastest will outperform their competitors. And three, AI isn't going to make the website irrelevant, right? It's changed the role the website may play. The interfaces around that platform may change enormously over the next 12 months, actually.
Yeah.
We ultimately need that platform at the center of it all.
Yes.
Yeah. I think they're the three things for me. I think that's what I've heard today from the both of you.
Okay.
So hopefully you found this interesting. If today you found the IX maturity curve interesting, and you felt that actually my website is a bit of hindering me at the moment and holding me back from being able to optimize and grow and commercialize your organization. We're here to help organizations like yourselves. Please reach out to us post this webinar. We'd be happy to have a conversation with you around anything from your platform, your data, optimization, your operating model. We're here to help, and we're here to have that initial conversation with you. Hopefully you would find that conversation with us useful as well. So I'm just looking, we have a couple of questions.
question.
Right, good. Right, you haven't prepared for these either. So okay, let me just read a few of them out. Okay, here's one here. How do we build the business case for continuous investment rather than the just another rebuild? I don't know who wants to go on that one first.
I'm happy to kick off if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we? So look, I think a good approach, and we've done this with some clients in the past, is that you don't have to just dive into a big investment for a complete new website. You know, if you think about an A/B testing strategy and what CRO allows you to do, I'm thinking of one particular client that we did this with, and I think we can say, because we got a case study. So with Agria, back in the day, we did some user testing on their website. We found a pinch point in their user journey where we knew it could definitely be improved. So we did a CRO test on that part of the journey. We successfully concluded the test.
Yeah.
And it showed an uplift of X%. Now, that enabled us to kind of take that evidence away and present to the CFO, you know, look, this is the investment that we made. This is the uplift that was achieved. If we can apply this across the other journeys, the other main journeys of the website, these are the sorts of returns that we could get. So it made the investment in the new website easier, and we were able to produce. The client was able to produce this quite sophisticated business plan for it.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of take that from my experience. I mean, I've worked obviously for Fresh Egg for the last 6 months, but prior to that, probably had sort of 15, 20 years in sort of leadership roles, client side for quite large enterprise level businesses. And I felt like I was continuously having to build business cases for the board to justify and ask for spend. I think I found it pretty easy actually, because when you think about digital and that return on investment model, any marginal gains you can have within your conversion rates pay dividends. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'll take an example here. If you've got an online business that's turning over, say, £20 million a year, and you improve the conversion rate of that website by 5%, and no other kind of major factors change, like your trading calendar doesn't change, your traffic levels and traffic mix don't change, your AOV stays pretty static. Well, that's an extra £1 million a year just by improving conversion rate by 5%. Now, my biggest challenge was making it look credible when I'm saying I can drive all this back to you into the organization, and I can pretty much pay that back within a year's investment model. Like those break-even points almost when you were laying them up alongside other business cases that the organization were looking at. Like the digital investment cases always stood up very strongly.
Yeah.
Aaron, I don't know if you've got a viewpoint on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys have covered it pretty well. It's generally like it's just the case of like, is your website the revenue producer or doing some part of revenue producing for your business? And if it is, then you probably need to keep it up to date and keep it, you know, at the height of functionality so that it can produce even more revenue. Because, like you said, if you can increase your conversion rate by even 1% in that case, well, most of your personalization tools aren't costing £200,000 a year. So it's immediately a net benefit, even at the 1% level. Right.
100%. And look, just quickly, personalization's been on the agenda of many organizations for years and years. And I just think, over the past 10 years, personalization is not a new thing, but it didn't always hit the top of the priority list for lots of different reasons. Maybe people thought it was too complicated, but we've had this kind of easy fix and it's been paid search. So historically, the easiest thing to do was just turn up the dial on your paid search. But we've said paid search has reached this kind of ceiling of affordability,
Yeah.
and it is about your conversion rate now, and it is about doing personalization, and the rewards that are possible are huge. One quick little case study, because it does reflect on the things that we've been talking about, but like for the work that we did with Sharps, one of their main features on the website is to book a design visit.
Yeah.
So a design visit for someone to come around to your house and design you the dream wardrobe. But we did some user research on the website, and when people were booking this design visit, they wanted reassurance that before inviting a stranger
Yeah,
into their
100%.
house, the audience wanted confidence that Sharps had like genuine local expertise. So what we did as a test, as a personalization test, we surfaced some postcode led logic, that when someone was going to go and book in their design visit, where there was a genuine threshold, we could tell them how many people in their area had also used Sharps.
Yeah.
And just the effect of that local postcode led logic that gave that kind of social proof, that confidence, that had a dramatic impact. I think there was a 2.5 1% uplift in conversions for that booking form,
Yeah.
which resulted in a projected annual uh, uplift in revenue of 3.2 million.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
these small tests can have a massive impact.
Yeah, exactly. And they're the kinds of things that we could help any of you on the call today. If you have any challenges around building that kind of business case up or justifying that return on investment and understanding what that improvement could drive for you, we'd be happy to have that conversation, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm just looking through some of the other questions. I'm going to keep on the budget kind of theme for now and the other end of the spectrum, really. So I've got a question here. We've got a platform we can't change and we've got no budget to replace it with. We hear this quite a lot, don't we? Where do I start? I don't know. Aaron, do you want to pick this one up?
Yeah, I mean it's always an interesting one, right? When people say like we've got no budget to replace things because like I like to run it through this like is your website producing a decent amount of revenue for you? And it's like most people say yes, and if you say no, shut it down. Do you know what I mean? Like if it's not, then it's a cost. Shut it down. And like I'm gonna say that, and most people are gonna be like, well, we can't shut it down. It's like, well, then you're kind of admitting to yourself that it's producing revenue for you, that you need it, right? And so, like when I was younger, I was absolutely dirt poor. I was like an early 20-year-old, and my dad said to me, like, Aaron, you need to get some home contents insurance. And it was only like £10 a month at the time, but I was so poor, I was just like, Dad, I can't afford that. And he just said, turned to me and went, Aaron, you can't afford not to have it. Because if something does go wrong, you definitely don't have the more than £10 a month. If you can't even afford £10 a month, you definitely don't have like 500 to replace whatever it is you need, right? And I was like, yeah, that's fair. And like the thing is, like, I get it, budget's tricky. And so there's two constraints on budget, right? The first constraint is that your manager refuses to give you the budget, okay? And or the owner of your business refuses to give you the budget. that is a conversation about persuasion, right? That is a, hey, our website is now hindering us. It is getting at a risk stage where it will no longer produce revenue in the way that we need it to. We need to do something about this sooner rather than later because the problem gets more and more expensive. The quicker we get some budget, even to fix some of the parts, not even to replace the whole system, but just to fix some things, right? The better. The more quickly we'll produce more revenue. And look at the conversion that you expect. Because if I said to you, you're going to spend that money and it's going to come back to you tenfold. And I could guarantee it and I could show you the future through my crystal ball. You find that money. Like you find that money. Everyone finds that money. The trick is the uncertainty. But we can say with a pretty quiet confidence that if your website currently is holding you back, that if you improve it, right, and it is producing revenue still, even in spite of that, if you improve it, it's probably going to produce more, right? The other thing is like you genuinely have a budget constraint in the business, like the business genuinely doesn't make more money and doesn't make enough money. And the problem with this is it's a bit of a vicious cycle because the website is what's is going to be one of the key things producing you revenue. And so
Yeah.
in this case, again, like the thing that I would focus on is like, okay, maybe you don't have the budget to replace the full system yet. Find what budget you can to make the most, like the highest ROI change you can think of to get more revenue into the business, right? Once that's in there, then you can talk about the full website replacement, but you can start small. A lot of agencies will help you start small. Like go and talk to any of these agencies and go, look, we don't have a lot of money right now. Is there any sort of project that we can do for you that's going to get us a little bit more money into the business or that's going to improve this in any way? And you got to be willing to take a bet and actually like bet on that thing. The uncertainty will always be there. No one can guarantee the future, but the truth is like nothing changes if nothing changes, you know? Like yeah, at some point you
Yeah.
gotta sit down and just actually like bite the bullet, take a bet on something and realize that if you don't, then like you're gonna be kind of stuck in the same situation.
Exactly, Aaron. And just from my perspective, like you may not have budget now because you're going through your financial year and you have budget cycles you have to run through, but it's about forward planning, isn't it? If you can prepare the budget for the following financial year and ask the board to release some additional budget to help you grow your digital part of your business, that is maybe the conversation starter at a point in time when you're going through the budget planning for the next year that you start to try to unlock those budgets.
Then,
Anything to add there, Adam?
then Aaron can afford his £10 a month home content. Love it.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
love it.
Yeah,
Love your
exactly.
analogies, Aaron.
I think we've got a little bit more time. So
Yeah.
if that's okay with everyone on the call, we've got two more questions maybe we'll ask, which are quite relevant for this. So changing tack slightly, Adam. We talked about optimization programs earlier. Um, so how much traffic do you actually need before experimentation is worthwhile?
Okay. Good question. So all experimentation is possible. It just depends on how long an experiment might take to reach your statistical significance.
Yes.
So look, I say a good rule of thumb, if your website receives, I don't know, between 30 and 50,000 visits a month, you can definitely experiment.
Yeah.
A test typically around that size website, if you're on a high traffic page, could take 2 to 3 weeks to reach the right kind of statistical significance to draw any conclusion of a
Yeah.
test. But yeah, anyone can test. That is the kind of sweet spot. Lower than 30,000, you are going to struggle, I think, to produce the right kind of A/B test
Yeah.
to get that significance level
I,
right.
I kind of agree. I mean,
Yeah.
there's certain aspects of your websites that will have lower elements of traffic throughout them, like
Yeah.
a checkout will have less, but obviously that's probably the most sensitive commercial aspect of any website,
Yeah.
probably where you see the most wins from the conversion optimization program as well. But again, if anyone is interested in exploring that further and is a little bit worried about their traffic levels, just give us a shout. We're happy to have a look and just evaluate if it's worth you even considering running a CRO program or not, either in-house or via an agency. And probably Aaron, last question, and this is very much linked to Umbraco, so hopefully you can take this and me and Adam don't try to make this up on the spot for you. So where does Umbraco fit if we're on a different CMS?
I mean, firstly, why you want a different CMS, right? No, I mean, I think, if you're on a different CMS, Um, then the main place where Umbraco would fit, right, is in this future proofing for your architecture. So we have a product called Compose, which is an orchestration layer. So essentially, that point that we were saying about being able to plan for integrations and architecture more smoothly, if you don't know what an orchestration layer is, this is like a really good way to make this easier and to stop technical debt building up. Because rather than building all these custom integrations between your tools, which then themselves become their own points of dependency, which have to be upgraded and changed. Um, Compose allows you to kind of plug these things in and out essentially by acting as like the central like Tower of Babylon that speaks the languages of all of your different technologies and can translate between them, as it were, right? And so, Umbraco is not the only orchestration tool out there either. There are other orchestration tools. I tend to be biased and say ours is the best one on the market, obviously. But, there's other stuff as well, and orchestration is something that you should think of. I think as well, like generally speaking, with where Umbraco fits into your CMS, like I'd just say going back to that budget piece, if your underlying CMS is costing you too much money, and that's what's eating up a lot of your budget. I do think Umbraco is at a good point for it because the base level is open source and free. So, when you say you don't have enough budget to replace it, maybe just build a free MVP replacement on an open source CMS that literally isn't costing you any money, right? Like these are the things that you can kind of work on. But yeah, I'd say like in terms of obviously like as a CMS, we're our own CMS. If you've already got a CMS, then that's something. But like Compose is a good thing, a good tool that we make that is CMS agnostic. You can plug whatever CMS into it, and it will help solve that architectural problem in terms of being able to what like weld different technologies together, essentially.
Brilliant. Thank you. That is the end of our questions. We're just over 50 minutes into the webinar now, so I'm just going to bring us to a close if that's okay, guys.
Good.
A couple of housekeeping pieces just to let you know, everyone on the call today, we've put together a short 7-question website evolution assessment for you all. We'll send that link out to you via email to all the attendees today. We'll also send a recording of this webinar to you on email. We'll be posting this on our website, I believe, as well in
So
the next day
you
or
can
so.
watch the video over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So just to close this off. So Aaron, thank you very much for your time and your insights. And thank you, Adam, for allowing me to sit next to you today
Yeah,
and
great.
enjoy the session with you.
I enjoyed it. It was good. Thank you, Aaron.
Okay.
Good
And
night,
thank you everyone
guys.
who's attended today. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.